Hello, hello. Matt Busick, current president of the Rotary Club of Des Moines. Welcome to the March 16 meeting. Happens to be someone very special in our club's birthday today. So, Dr. Bob Croskery, could you please, wave to everybody? Bob is a 55-year Rotarian and turns 90 today. Kitty has volunteered to keep us in the right key. We're gonna sing you happy birthday, Bob.
Do it on my key, not all you low high.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bob. Happy birthday to you.
And Bob, I know that was okay, but probably not nearly as good as Virginia. I don't know if everybody knows this, but one of Bob's daughters is an accomplished opera star and performed all around the world. So hopefully that was okay, Bob. All right, I'd like to welcome 5 guests today. The first person I'd like to introduce is Dr. Joseph Jones, who is recently been added to the staff at Des Moines University as Chief of Staff to Dr. Franklin. So if you could please stand, Joseph, so everyone can see. Next is Erna Moraine, past District Governor, past President of the Waukee Rotary, and spouse of Steve Moraine. Zach Russ is here with Ellipsis as Engagement Director, guest of Chris Anderson. Bill Warner, Senior VP of Operations at Merchants Bonding, is here as a guest of Bob Bedroll. And Joyce Wheeler is here, guest of Todd Wheeler, pharmacist and Waukee Rotarian. Welcome, everybody. It's tumbler time. I just want to remind everyone that if you're not giving to our foundation electronically, you should feel free to drop just a few dollars of cash in the cups on the table. That supports our foundation, and as you know, it's one of the key ways that we do great work across the Des Moines Metro. Thanks to Randy Wheeler and Carl Schilling for sticking around after today's meeting to pick up our tumblers. All right, where in the world's Matt been? Oh, there we go. San Juan with past President Sean Mullins. So if you see Sean, ask him about his trip to San Juan. And then last week, I think everybody knew that I wasn't here. I happened to be cheering on the Big Ten and my favorite team, Northwestern Wildcats. I did cheer up for the Iowa Hawkeyes too. But you can see they were using my head as the free throw, trying to keep people away from making free throws. And then Chicago celebrated March 17th a little early. The river gets turned green there on Saturday, so you see me canoeing, or I guess river rafting in the Chicago River. So remember, if you would like to check out a flat mat and take me with you on trips, Ashley has already kind of preordained a trip to Venice. We would like that because I love to travel, and everybody likes to know where you've been. Okay, we have great opportunities to give back in our community, and a couple of them are upcoming. Last week, Kathy Cody shared 2 opportunities to sign up for the Hope Cafe to serve meals. There's still room on Monday, April 3rd. That sign-up sheet is out by the badges if you are so inclined to want to participate. Please do on your way out. Now I'm going to invite Carl Schilling and Randy Worth eventually to the podium for a quick announcement. And then after Carl will be Bob Bedroll, who is giving us our moment of inspiration and will lead us in the full-way test and pledge today. So, Carl?
I'll be very brief because I want to hear our speakers too. Just a word, Civitas is sponsoring and organizing efforts to end human trafficking on behalf of the Rotary International Association. So on your tables, there is a leaflet having to do with the banquet Tuesday, May 2nd, and please put that on your calendars. And it says here what the program will be. It's going to be a great program. We have Heather Brown, who is a survivor of human trafficking. We have Matthew. I should have worn my glasses. But we also have here we go. I ran out of arm a while ago. Matthew Stevenson, Director of Learning and Development for Casey's. And Casey's has been doing a great job as a business in helping to eliminate human trafficking. We have a John Jarvie, a retired Chief Federal Court Judge who has done a number of trafficking cases. And he insisted that Charlotte Kovacs join because he has said there isn't a better victim witness specialist anywhere. So please keep this in mind, please come. There is in the back a little display, Ivy helped us with that, to collect things for Dorothy's House, which is a safe house for women who have been involved in prostitution. And there's a list of things that you could bring next week if you wanted to. But there are a number of ways you can help. One is to donate by signing up. And another would be if you didn't want to bring things to here, to this place, you could take it to our office on Fleur Drive. So that's what I have. Please keep us in mind. Please help us put an end to human trafficking. Thank you.
Carl, I have to wear glasses, but I'm not smart enough to use a bigger piece of paper. Thank you, President Matt. Give you a quick announcement about the next Wheels Fellowship, and for the new folks and the old folks that remembered we have a Wheels Fellowship, you don't have to be a member, you just come, okay? So we don't collect any money or anything. You just have to put up with me and whoever else comes. So the next Wheels event is a week from tomorrow, Friday, the 24th at 3:30 at Ted's Body Shop on, I think it's 5571 Northwest 2nd Avenue. So 8035, get off of 2nd Avenue, go north, it's on the right side of the road, white building, red stripes, cars out front, you can't miss it. They'll usually have 3 to 6 cars being repaired. Don't know how many that will be there, but one thing I do know is they will have a car for us on their frame rack. So if you've ever seen a car that's been in an accident, hopefully not yours, and it looked like it got wrapped around a pole or something, how do they fix that? The frame rack helps, okay? So whether you have a full frame or a body on a platform car, we'll get to see that. So anyhow, I'd like to give Kyle Lee, our past member, is helping me put this together. I'd like to give him kind of a head count, but if you don't know until a week from Friday at 3 o'clock that you can go, you just come anyway. All right, hope to see you there. Thank you, Mr. Luke. I appreciate it. About 2.5 years ago, I had 2 rides in November to the hospital in 1 week. And seeing the care of the paramedics and the care I received at the hospital from the nurses and the doctors. And they were all masked up because of COVID. And when I was wheeled out the last time by a nurse, I said, "Can you take your mask down?" And she said, "Here's my badge." That's all she would show me. But I saw those eyes and that caring.
And through that experience, if I see somebody in scrubs, in IV or whatever, I thank them for what they do, because I know they worked hard. And a couple of months ago, I saw a nurse, somebody in scrubs happened to be a nurse, and I said, "Are you a nurse?" And she goes, "Yeah, I'm a nurse." And I gave her a very short abbreviation of the story. And I said, "Thank you for what you do, because I know you work very hard." All of a sudden she goes, "Well, thank you." So it's about attitude. I know we thank our service people, our officers, our fire people, but when you go to the doctor for an examination, never take that for granted. I'd like to read a poem I found online today. Guardians of Health. Guardians of health and caretakers of the ill, with compassion and expertise, they work to heal. Through the long nights and the endless rounds, they never falter, never kneel. With every diagnosis and every cure, they bring hope and light the way. For all the lives they've saved and all the souls they've touched, we are forever in their debt today. We thank you, dear doctors, and I would add nurses, for all that you do, for all the countless lives you've touched, and the healing that shows through. Now, the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the four-way test.
It is the truth, it is fair to all concerned, will it build goodwill and better friendships, will it be beneficial to all concerned.
Greet your fellow Rotarians. Oh yeah, greet your fellow Rotarians. Thank you, Matt.
Let me sneak behind you.
What a friendly group today. Thank you. Well, I first had the privilege of meeting and working with Dr. Franklin while publishing the book, Now is the Time, Des Moines is the Place, A History of Des Moines University. We don't really need to talk about how long ago that was, but the book is really a remarkable saga that could easily be adapted into film or a docu-series. In fact, I think we might need to reach out to Ken Burns after this and see if there's interest there. In this storied history, as it is with so many others similar, it is made clear that it takes strong, effective leadership within the institution as well as within the community in which it resides to not only just survive, but to thrive, especially for over a century. Needless to say, through working on that project, I developed a strong sense of pride for the institution that has in fact survived against very great odds and has called Des Moines home for the last 125 years. As the 15th president of DMU, Dr. Franklin has established herself as the leader needed to continue to evolve the institution and launch a thriving DMU forward. She has established institutional goals and priorities in her tenure for the future. In fact, in December of 2018, launched a Purple and Proud campaign looking to raise $25 million, and that surpassed that goal within a year. With the transformative vision to build an entirely new campus on 88 acres of land in West Des Moines, the campaign continues with fundraising efforts focused on this new campus even today. Dr. Franklin is leading the effort to plan and design the new campus, which is anticipated to open this summer. coinciding with the 125th anniversary of the founding of DMU. As if that wasn't enough to keep one at full capacity, Dr. Franklin is actively involved in the community, serving on boards of Bankers Trust, the Greater Des Moines Partnership, the Harkin Institute, National Advisory Council, and Unity Point Health. But wait, there's more. She is also chair of the Assembly of Presidents of the American Association of Colleges of Osteopathic Medicine, AACOM for short, and a member of the George Washington Carver Statuary Hall Project and the Alliance on Academic Healthcare. It is an honor to have Dr. Franklin with us today, so please join me in welcoming her to the podium.
Thank you, Ashley, and thank you to the members of the Rotary for the invitation to join you today. So, of course, it's been mentioned that we're on this transformative journey to relocate our campus, to grow Des Moines University and its enterprises to its new location. So I thought what you'd most be interested in hearing about today is just how in the world did we go about choosing to do that, how have we done it, and where are we in the process of doing so. So I thought I would start by sharing a story. So of course, Des Moines University has been around 125 years, and we're celebrating that beginning this year. We've been on 20 acres of land, 22 acres of land at 3,200 grand, not far from here, for about 60 years. That wasn't our first home. Those who've been in Des Moines for a while know that we started on 2nd Avenue. Then we moved from 2nd Avenue to 6th Avenue. And then the Catholic Girls' School that was there became an attractive next home based on leadership at the time in the 1970s. So we relocated the campus to 3,200 grand at that point. But as you can imagine, being in a residential community and being landlocked, the question is, what do we do next? And the Board of Trustees and members of my board are here. Steve Moranis will always be known to me as one of the individuals involved in recruiting me to come to Des Moines and Des Moines University. I remember 12 years ago as I said yes to come join the university, I could never have imagined relocating the campus. I really didn't think they'd get on board with that idea. But I have a talented group and supportive board that's, when I pitched the idea, they said, well, of course, let's pursue that. So we get to have an opportunity now as a health sciences university that wasn't as well known in some circles outside of this region, but we get to take this opportunity national and doing something that's quite innovative. So innovation and history coming together to create the campus of the future. We see it as that opportunity to build a campus of the future from the ground up. Of course, we are in a space now that used to be our high school. So for years, and we have beautiful space there that's been retrofitted and redesigned, but as time went on, and in my tenure there, it became really clear to me as medical education is evolving to its future state, also the teaching of health professionals is evolving. So we have beautiful big auditoriums on our campus now. Beautiful labs that could be better configured for more collaborative translational research. So opportunities to reimagine our future state, including how we teach, was actually being compromised in our current space. So we have beautiful auditoriums, but they're primarily empty because students learn more small group interaction. So we didn't have a design that was evolving with the time in the way that medical education goes. So with this opportunity to build from the ground up a space that's designed for the future, we were able to partake and have an opportunity to relocate the campus and buy 88 acres of land out in West Des Moines. Interesting story about this particular plot of land. Most of you probably know where we are. We're still on Grand Avenue, but out in West Des Moines. What was really interesting about the land is that we noticed as we were securing the purchase of these 88 acres of land, not far from where the Recplex was being designed, that we knew that there was something interesting about the topography. That there was corn being harvested that year, so there were corn there was a flat area, and then there was a hillside. And as we looked at the land, we thought, wouldn't it be nice to try to build the campus up into the hillside? that we'd be a little bit further away from Raccoon River in case there was any threat of flooding, that we'd be in the hillside. So our novices in thinking about how do you design a campus came with this idea, well, let's build in the hillsides so we'll be away from the water. What we didn't know, there's an interesting story about the topography. So thanks to RDG, we were able to, our design firm, we were able to come up with an interesting history about the land. And we love to tell this story because it seems as if DMU was meant to be on this particular plot of land. As glaciers came thousands of years ago into the area, there's a Des Moines lobe there. You see the little red circle? That is exactly where our campus is located. So without knowing, the hillside was really the end of the glaciers moving into that area. And who would know but to know that that area of the advancement of a glacier is called the edge of advancement. I didn't know if that's what you call the place where the glacier stops. But that hillside and that interesting topography was actually the edge of advancement where the glacier ended. So for all the right reasons, we land on a piece of property that has an interesting history and topography, and we're gonna build our new campus of the future at the edge of advancement. Okay, you couldn't make this stuff up, right? This has to be the place where Des Moines University needs to be. So this happens to be the 88 acres of land that we purchased. This gives you a better sense of that glacial advancement. See the purple lines there? So we are literally building our campus, and we wanted the campus to be in the hillside there, actually on the edge of advancement. So we love to tell the story because if anyone wondered whether or not we have picked the right place to be, to advance the university and create our future state, DMU's advancement happens to literally be at the edge of advancement. So we get to carve a new landscape from this land. We get to build a future state, and all you need to do is look at a little bit of CSI on TV to know that bodies sort of float above tables in anatomy labs these days. No longer are they just using cadavers. So the way we teach our medical students is also evolving. The way we do research is evolving. So we knew we had to create a future state, but these new emerging technologies also get dated. So how do you try to imagine a future state, but meet current need? So everything that we've done with our design team is to look at what that future state could be and sort of dream and imagine a future state so that we don't have 50 years from now facilities that can't continue to evolve. So thanks to the design team that we have, we've been able to imagine a future state that can evolve. So even the design of our garage actually is flat surface because 50 years from now, maybe we don't need to park cars. That area could be actually converted into an office area. So this gives you an idea of how we kind of see the fact that the glacier and DMU came together for all the right reasons. The master plan shows the topography here with a plan for a full campus in the future. Something that DMU never had been able to do, to have an actual plan for where future buildings will go. So A, B, C, and D are the buildings that we're building now, but as you can see in the design of the space for the future, we're gonna have plenty of space to grow for the next 100 years. So whereas we're celebrating 125 years now, this could be a future state with opportunities to plan for those buildings of the future. That administrations that follow me will continue to be able to build this campus out to the design specifications thanks to our RDG design team. So these are the buildings that are being built now, and if you drive out there on Grand Avenue, you'll see them prominently displayed in the hillside, just where they're supposed to be, and excitement that's come along with that. I love to tell this story because West Des Moines has been pretty amazing in welcoming us into the community. The picture up at the top there shows a picture with the mayor and members of the city council. As we did what we call our Move That Bus kind of opportunity for the community to see where our new home would be. This would have been the summer of 2019 that we actually had our board of trustees out there to reveal the sign, which was the future home and the location of Des Moines University. And we literally said, move that bus, as you can see on some of those television shows, to see where our new home would be. That, of course, was an empty cornfield at the time. It started with me tearing down a farmhouse on the property. Of course, other duties as assigned. So I think they thought I was joking when I said, let me try, but I actually got on the backhoe there and I brought that farmhouse down. But these are just some early pictures of transforming the future state for Des Moines University. And this is sort of a progression. So I'm just gonna kind of share with you the progression of the bill. Most people wondered when the pandemic hit, are you still gonna do this? And we just shifted our focus to online and Zooming. We continue to work with the design team. I remember asking members of the design team, how fast can you build a campus? I don't know, I don't have a clue. How do you build a campus from the ground up? And I remember Joe Lang from RDG design team said, we'll go as fast as you take us. And it depends on you. And if you want to do it in 3 years, because we're really hoping to be able to have our campus built in the 125th year. And we're actually able to do so. So these are just a few more pictures of the progression of the campus if you've not been out there to see. One thing that we like to share a lot with our board members and others is it's one thing to see a rendering. So on the left side of here is a rendering of an innovation building, and that's an actual picture. So, I mean, I think they're true to form, that the rendering and what the actual picture looks like. That gives you one vantage point of the innovation building. And this is a full shot from a few weeks ago. It's actually more complete than this now. But the building to the right, and they're all connected, as you can see. Being in Iowa, we wanted our campus to be pretty open and easy for students because we draw students from all over the country, for them to be comfortable being able to traverse the campus from one point to the other. So you can get to any building on campus through what we call pathways. We're not calling them skywalks, they're pathways. Because there are areas that you can actually interact and sit and talk, so they're wide thoroughfares, pathways through the entire campus. Building to the right, anyone want to guess what we named that building? The Edge of Advancement, right? It's the Edge of Advancement building. Of course, we'll love to have it be named somebody else's Edge of Advancement building, but that's an opportunity out there for those who might be interested. The Innovation building is in the center, and then our Health and Wellbeing is over to the left, and then you see the parking structure. You can see from the design there, flat surface parking, because at some point, people might not be driving as much, and we can convert the building. So all of our spaces can be converted for something else by design. Where we are now today, we have big, beautiful auditoriums, as I mentioned, but you can't convert that into small group sessions. So we don't have auditoriums, we don't have a lot of tiered flooring. We have spaces that can be converted to something else at any time. And we also will have pretty much a smart campus so that the technology is quite innovative. So this gives an idea of just probably about a month or so ago, because it's more complete today. And some other design features, given the campus location, and with wellness being a core value, we have a lot of opportunities for walking trails and for people to be out on the land and experiencing the outside as well as the inside of the campus. So these are a few other shots of sites around campus. This is our main entry into the Edge of Advancement and reception area. So a picture on the left is a rendering, and this was about a month ago where the stairway is coming to life there. This will be a point of entry for all guests that will come to campus. This is one of those classrooms, see, flat surface, not tiered auditoriums. Our faculty don't come and lecture like they did 50 years ago. There's a lot of interaction and opportunities for small group study. We can actually flip this into another kind of a meeting room for later in the evening, so we're more efficient use of our space. So we don't have space that sits idle because nobody uses that for that, but they can use it for something else. On the right picture is what that room is looking like about a month ago. That picture was taken of that area taking shape. This is an example of how it can be converted in the evening to another event for event center. So again, we're being very thoughtful in our planning of the use of all of our spaces, that they aren't just for one purpose, they can be converted for other purposes. And we, of course, at DMU host a lot of events, and we'll be able to continue to do so. This is the executive boardroom, and we have a board that meets quarterly with us, and And they got to actually, in hard hats, be able to tour the space back in December to see their boardroom taking shape. So that's just and actually about a couple months old picture there as well. Food service is important, of course, for our students who will essentially be on campus 24/7. The campus is open for them at all times. We actually are investing in food service, coffee bars, all the things that they like to have. And one thing that we've been sharing with people that's really interesting is that there's no library. So people wonder, well, why isn't there a library? If you think about libraries as they've evolved, you don't see stacks and stacks of books anymore. There's a digital library. So there's a presence, and we have librarians, but instead of it all be concentrated in one area, they're learning commons all throughout, interspersed throughout the campus. Because we've learned that this generation of students learn anywhere, wherever, at any given time. So we want to have a campus that they feel they can plug in and power up wherever they are, whether they're in a pathway, outside, at the coffee bar. Learning happens everywhere. So our librarians are part of this evolution as well in terms of designing the space around the campus. Research is an important evolution for us as well. When I arrived 12 years ago, we had labs, some researchers, not a lot of published work. So we have an opportunity, because we designed space for our new campus, to really grow a research enterprise. And we have some young developing Falcon members who are really eager. We have had our first NIH grants. So this is a real opportunity for us to grow our research enterprise. So to the left is a rendering, and that's what it looked like about a couple months ago. It's another picture of the health and well-being building. Wellness is a core value for DMU, as you would guess, as a health sciences university. It's really important for us to have wellness opportunities for our employees and our students. So this is a rendering and an actual picture there. Our gym is also part of that, rendering and a picture from a couple months ago. Some of these, as you can see, have names already. So this is the Swift Gymnasium, thanks to an alum. One thing that's happened with our alumni, as you can probably imagine, there's a lot of pride in knowing what their alma mater is doing now. So we have alumni sort of coming out of the woodworks now, saying we want to be a part of this, we want to get our name on something, and they're giving very generously to support this effort. And that is a view of the campus looking north. So went through that pretty quickly, but I wanted to be able to share with you that we're still grand. We may not be on 3,200 grand in Des Moines, but we're just down the road about 9 miles in West Des Moines, and we believe we're still grand. So with that, I'm going to stop and see if there are questions. Yes.
Will the new campus allow you to expand enrollment?
Yes, very good question. We actually have about 1,600 students today. One thing that we couldn't do on our current location was add any new degree program. Just with the constraints of the facility, parking, to add one new degree program was a problem for us. So our PT Falcon have been wanting to add OTD for years, and they have not been able to add OTD because that would have been another group of faculty, another group of students. So that was the first degree we were able to get approved. So starting this summer and fall, the first group of OTD students, occupational therapy, doctorate students, will be joining us. So that was the first new degree program. We were also able to have a PhD program. Remember I mentioned research developing? So we have Falcon members who are beginning to bring on research projects. They now have a PhD program in biomedical sciences. So we're really proud of that program. Only about 2 students a year that come into that program. So those are the first 2 degree programs that have already been approved that we're going to be bringing on as soon as we move there. We are building the campus for up to 2,000 students on the current configuration for the campus. But as you see in the master plan with rooms for more buildings, we'll be able to grow the campus size even more than that. So we get now to dream about what's next. Yes.
I have 2 questions. One relates to, as a pioneer Missourian, you have not mentioned Steele. Some of us know when Steele College came to Des Moines on 6th Avenue, and Steele comes from Missouri. Do you allude to have anything in your current campus or your future that speaks about Steele?
Yeah. Well, actually, the founder of osteopathy is a person. Oh, sorry, there was a question about, and I didn't get his question again. Okay, I have to repeat the question, sorry. So the question was about Steele, the founder of osteopathy, and the fact that we were originally Steele College. So when we came to Des Moines, we're the second oldest DO school. And the question is whether or not there's any reflection or recognition of the founding father. And I love to tell this story because Summerfield Steele, the nephew of A.T. Steele, who was the founder of osteopathy, was trained at the original first school of osteopathic medicine in Missouri. He came to Des Moines to establish a second campus. So that's how we got to Des Moines. That's why the book was entitled, Now's the Time Des Moines is a Place. That was an actual quote from S. Summerfield Steele. So Summerfield Steele, and we're going to correct this in the history going forward, but Summerfield and his wife Ella, who was also DO trained, both came to found a new campus. But we often forget about Ella in telling the story. So we have a founding father and a founding mother, and I figure if it's not for me, somebody needs to correct the history, and we're going to correct the history. But we do recognize Summerfield. So our cafeteria is called Summerfield's. SS Steele, Summerfield Steele is that founding father, but his wife Ella was also there. So we do acknowledge Steele as our origin. Osteopathy is a basic premise upon which our Health Sciences University began. So we trace our history to 1898, which is why we're celebrating 125 years this year.
My second question has to, you mentioned your library. Are you hiring people with master's degree in library science?
Yeah, we have 3 librarians, and they're all master's level, and they have faculty appointments.
Do you want to apply?
Yes.
You're reading here on the stress in the healthcare industry, and people reading it because when they went through COVID and others, and you talk about the well-being of your students. How are you going to address, obviously, medical education is a very high-pressure education. How do you address it, recognizing the stresses that maybe with the students, and also preparing them for their education, but also beyond that?
The question is, how do we prepare students for the stresses or being in medical education, given the times, and post-COVID, I think we're seeing even more of that. And I think universities all over the country, and not just health sciences, but all universities are seeing a real uptick in issues and concerns from students and employees. I think we're all struggling with greater concerns around mental well-being, so that we have counseling services. We have a lot of services that our students partake of. I mean, they actually have seen numbers go up, which on one hand would give you reason to be concerned, but we actually welcome that because we know that our students are taking advantage of the opportunity to get help. So we have services for students through our Department of Counseling. And we also just recently established a behavioral health clinic on campus. So the clinic buildings that are at 3,200 grand will always be at 3,200 grand. I mean, I think people wonder, what about the 3,200 grand campus? There was never a plan to remove those clinics, so the behavioral medicine clinic is one of the newest ones in 3,200 grand, plus the Olson Center is attached. But we have taken the downtown campus off the market, so it will be a major asset for us for future growth. So not only do we have land out in West Des Moines to figure out what's next, we have a 3,200 grand campus here in the city of Des Moines to also figure out what's next. So, but opportunities around mental health. In my background, as a clinical psychologist, that's kind of high on my list of priorities to make sure not only our students, but our people are supported.
Thank you.
Question in the back?
What's the annual tuition?
It depends on the program. Each one of the program has different, probably the DO program is the most expensive at about $45,000 a year. Each of the pros, the DPMs, the podiatry students, it's probably about $42,000. So each one has a different, based on the market for the degrees in comparable other institutions. So it varies. That's just tuition, their fees, and other living expenses. So our students, based on our peers, actually have less debt than average medical students in the country. But you can just imagine if you have a student that doesn't have the benefit of having family members or scholarships, our indebtedness can be quite high. So, but we're on the lower end of that. Students graduate from medical school all over the country with $250,000 of debt. I mean, because they have to borrow every penny of that tuition and living for 4 years to be able to do that. So we are very conscientious about making sure we provide scholarships and look for more and more scholarships to keep debt down, but also not try to stay, as the most expensive school. We don't want to be the cheapest. We want to be a good buy, but we also are very conscientious about making sure we are mindful of the debt that our students have incurred, because a lot of times they will find their mate, their partner in medical school. So now you have two individuals, each with $250,000 of debt, and they go out to practice medicine or do residency training from that. So we monitor those numbers, and as far as where we are with our peers, we're normally around the second or third quartile in terms of peers, in terms of tuition. Yes?
You talked about being more national in scope. Could you talk about how that's maybe changing from what you are presently? But my understanding is that a large number of your graduates actually reside and practice here in Iowa.
Actually, we do have quite a few that reside in Iowa. Of our 16,000 living alumni, about 4,000 are in Iowa, but the rest of them all over the country. So we draw students from all over the country, and we also have them go all over the country to practice. Michigan and California are two other big states with quite a few of our graduates, but we're very national in our student body, and also where our alumni go, and we follow them all over the country. A good example of how we've gotten national recognition for an item that to me is really important to us as an institution is the NAMI provider training program. As a psychologist, we talk about concerns about stigma around mental illness and how we better prepare the future generation of health professionals to be aware of mental illness and the stigma. We are the only medical school in the country that partnered with NAMI on their provider training program to infuse that curriculum into the medical school curriculum. So we're the only, and now other medical schools are asking, well, how did you do that? You can't just say, well, we got a psychologist as a president, but that kind of makes a difference to some extent maybe, because I value this work. But everyone else trying to figure out how do you infuse that into the curriculum. We decided it was important for our students, and we included it as a core part of their curriculum. Just one example. We're also #1 in the country in terms of family medicine. Of all the medical schools, we have more of our students going into family medicine than other medical schools. It fluctuates a little bit from year to year, but we're normally in the top group of medical schools that graduate students in primary care. And I keep forgetting to mention the question again, so sorry about that.
Is there student residency on your new campus?
Housing?
Yes.
No, we don't have housing now, and we decided we would not build housing out in West Des Moines. And just to correct a perception that may have been out there that we were taking students away from their places they live, the students that started moving to West Des Moines before we decided to move to West Des Moines, we couldn't figure out why we were having a parking problem. And all of a sudden we realized they used to, 50 years ago, maybe live across the street. And they would just walk back and forth. But as time went on, even in my 12 years, more and more cars were coming to campus because more and more students were moving out to West Des Moines and downtown here. More cars were coming to campus. So our students are out there. And as you can imagine, it's sort of a catalyst for growth out in West Des Moines. Now there are apartments popping up all around us, and people are calling to say we're going to develop something. What are the specifications you need for your students? So housing is out there, and our students that will be starting this summer are already being approached for housing nearby.
Thank you.
Yes.
Is there, I'm assuming a lot of student work is from home. Is there a requirement to be on campus much?
Well, depending on the program, our Masters in Public Health and Masters in Healthcare Administration degree programs are all online. So for those degrees, they are all online. The question was about whether students could work from home or be on campus. But think about the DO profession, future physicians and future providers, they need hands-on lab experiences, so we need them there. So most of those experiences, they are required to be there. Now the pandemic tested that idea because we had to figure out how do you teach anatomy through a screen. And there are a lot of opportunities that came out of the pandemic that has informed our approach to how we teach. So we have some hybrid courses that students can be zooming in to do, but a lot of the labs, you gotta be there. And I think I'm running out of time because I got the signal. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Franklin. I especially want to thank you for mentioning RDG so many times, because Susan, each time, and I think the count was close to 10, you need to make a couple dollar donation to our foundation. And I'm going to add Steve Marine to that list too, because you did mention him a couple of times. Outstanding presentation. Thank you so much for being here. As a token of our appreciation, the Rotary Club of Des Moines will be donating a book in your honor to the Des Moines Public Library. The book will become part of the Rotary Rosie Reader Van Collection. This is a traveling library that has reached scores of readers across Des Moines since 2020, when our foundation donated the money for its purchase. Okay, upcoming meetings. We have a solid slate of speakers in front of us. Please think about who you think might find these speakers appealing and could potentially be a terrific add to our club's membership, and bring them. Invite them as your guest. Remember, you need to RSVP both for yourself and any guest by 9 a.m. on Wednesday before each week's meeting. Kelly Markey will be here to talk specifically about Dorothy's House. Carl just mentioned Dorothy's House, and do remember that Dorothy's House was the 2019 recipient of our $40,000 Community Grants Award. Matt Unger, CEO of DMARC and member of the Rotary Club of Des Moines, will be here on March 30, and we're looking forward to his presentation. And finally, on April 6th, Dan Houston, CEO of Principal Financial Group, will be here. So solid meetings upcoming. Please make sure you're here. Now, do I have enough time? Yes, I do. Anybody basketball fans in this room? All right, I noticed Greg Edwards is not here. Big day for Greg, big day for Des Moines, NC2A basketball in the house. All right, so what we're going to do here is I want to know who supports Drake. I understand a couple teams. All right. Okay, that was a solid clap. How about Iowa State University? Yeah. University of Iowa? All right. Okay, now, I know Kevin Kassir is probably monitoring this by the second. Anybody's bracket busted yet? We've got about a half of basketball under our belts. I think everything's starting now. Anyway, thank you for being here. Thanks for your patience with me being away last week, but you know, gotta travel a little bit, do the fly back thing. See you here next week.